In today's video, we're going to be going over the brand new YSL Y Iced Cologne. This is an Eau de Toilette Intense Concentration, released with great timing. Honestly, got to give credit to the brand. This one, I think, was announced, I don't know, a month or two ago, and just recently, within the past, I don't know, couple of weeks, it became available at, I think, Ulta is where it started. It was either Ulta or Sephora through the app only. And then I think on the 1st of February, they rolled it out to where now you can buy it off their website if you don't have their app. And so, yeah, they're releasing this just ahead of spring, which makes a lot of sense and, again, is really well done on their part. So we're going to go over this one today. I have been wearing this one over the past several days as I've got it in. I'm going to be going over just kind of a full review instead of doing the first impressions. Wanted to be able to give you some performance data and some other insights as well that you can't get out of a first impressions. So first thing you'll notice really quickly is, why did you get a 60 ml bottle? Now this came as a surprise to me as well. I got this one in the mail, opened it up, and was like, okay, that's bizarre. I looked at the packing slip and it said 2 ounce, 60 ml bottle, and went and looked back at my order receipt, and apparently I was just in a big hurry and wasn't paying attention, and I bought the 60 ml instead of the 100 ml. That sucks because this bottle size retails for $128 and the 100 ml retails for $155. So this is a horrendous deal, as it usually is. A little bit bummed out by that, but oh well. So let's start off with how this one smells. When you first spray this one on, you undoubtedly get hit with a very familiar smell, and that is Y Eau de Parfum. Because I've got to admit, the new Y Iced Cologne smells a lot like the OG Y Eau de Parfum, and you notice it pretty much instantly. There is, without a doubt, a very strong correlation. Now, there is more of a green minty focus in the new iced cologne version. You do pick up on a little bit of that minty green freshness, and also a little bit less of an apple sweetness and kind of more of a soapiness. Again, there is still some Y Eau de Parfum style of sweetness in here. However, not quite as heavy and not quite as syrupy sweet as the Eau de Parfum, for example. So it is a little bit brighter and fresher in that regard. And it smells nice. It has this kind of cooling blast about it where when you spray it on, it does smell very refreshing and very uplifting. And actually, when I got this one in and I sprayed it on, had my wife smell it, and she absolutely loved it. She's a pretty big fan of Y Eau de Parfum. I think she actually prefers the Eau de Parfum Intense on me, which I typically wear the Eau de Parfum Intense more anyway, so it works out. But she was a big fan of this one right off the first smell. Let's go ahead and take a look at the full note breakdown here, and we'll just take one more look at that bottle too. I don't know if I showed it very well. Very cool look, very nice vibrant blue coloration in an all clear bottle. It's like the Y Eau de Toilette bottle where the bottle is completely clear, no coloring, and any colors coming from the liquid itself. Pretty cool little detail there. Up top we have mint and ice. In the mid we have mint, mint tea, and blue sage. And can you guess what we have in the dry down, in the base? Patchouli and ambroxan. You thought it was going to be mint again. I did too, based upon what we were seeing so far. But yes, patchouli, ambroxan in the dry down. The ambroxan makes a ton of sense. Interestingly, they're choosing to use that instead of amberwood. And then a couple different mint notes and mint tea. So you do pick up on this kind of herbaceous, aromatic smell that's not necessarily coming from like a sage geranium type of deal, but it is coming from the tea note, in my opinion. So you do actually pick up on that. It's not a phantom note where they just put it in there because it sounds good. Now, you do get a little bit of a tea type of smell out of this one, which I like, and I think it fits the theme of this very well. Now, of course, they list off ice up top, and that's always a note that is a little bit funny to see, and of course, it more so is representative of, I guess, a feeling or like a personality of the scent, so to speak. Of course, you can't really smell ice, but it's supposed to give the impression that the scent itself is going to be kind of bright, cooling, and uplifting. And it does have that to some extent. As it dries down, you know, and it starts to settle, it still is relatively close to Y Eau de Parfum. And this is honestly a little bit of a disappointment to me. Now, the reason why is because at one point, we had a fantastic summer version of Y, okay? It's Y Eau Fresh. I think we all remember this one. First things first, by far my favorite bottle out of the entire lineup. There's something about frosted glass that I just love. You just see that frosted white with the white cap to match. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, truly a cooling looking scent, right? Just amazing. We had something very good going here, and they of course took this one away. This is nowhere near as bright and fresh as YO Fresh. And I guess I was expecting it to be, considering the note breakdown, all of the mint and, you know, ambroxan and stuff and ice. But it doesn't go that far. It's not that fresh. It's YO de Parfum leaning, a little bit brighter off the opening, a little bit less sweet, a little bit less heavy. Is it more of a summer version compared to YO de Parfum? Without a doubt, yes. However, it's just not what I was hoping for personally. I think if they would have brought this back into the YO Fresh territory a little bit more, I think it would be one that makes more sense. You know, YO Fresh also used a ton of ginger, and so it just smelled very bright, very vibrant, had plenty of citrus as well. Just a great scent all around. And again, the note breakdowns between the two aren't similar, so it's not like I was expecting it to be exactly like that, but I was hoping it would go more in that fresher direction, especially with something named Ice. I don't know, it's just not that fresh. It's kind of like a Rasasi Howes Ice, where they give you that you know, refreshed looking cooling bottle, and you know, you're kind of led on to think that maybe it's going to be a very fresh take and lose a lot of that sweetness, but then it just ends up smelling like YO de Parfum. Like, that just doesn't smell like ice to me. Very strange what some of these designer and clone brands, I guess, are thinking when it comes to stuff like this. I don't know. As far as being a wearable, compliment pulling type of scent, this is that. It is going to check off all of the boxes there. It is going to be a huge compliment puller. People love this. Again, my wife immediately said it smells fantastic. This is the type of thing that is going to get the attention of women, and it's going to turn heads and just smell great. It's going to be very wearable in the warmer weather, more so casual leaning, not something I'd be wearing for you know, high-end black tie events or anything. Just casual wear, spring and summertime is going to be a good time to wear this. Now let's get to the performance. This is the other just kind of head-scratching part. They took a page out of Dolce & Gabbana's book, where Dolce & Gabbana was marketing the One EDP 2025 as like a 16-hour wear, which is just very misleading. Now, they didn't go as far with this. They are saying that this is a 12-hour intense wearing experience. Not so much for me. I haven't gotten 12 hours out of this one. In fact, it's on the lower end. It's not really overly strong on my skin. Now, in terms of longevity, about 8. Okay, around there, and that's pretty usable longevity. Like, you know, it still has the potential to push off the skin enough to where somebody around you could smell it at around that 8-hour mark. It's pretty faint at that point, but still doable. And that's with a few heavy sprays when applying it. Okay, so around that 8. Projection, when you first spray it, is pretty strong. It does push out. Eau de Toilette Intense, you would expect that from a concentration of this type. As it settles, you know, it does start to get a little bit more closer to the skin, not to a complete skin scent, but more of an intimate scent, which I personally don't mind. Given, again, the concentration, not one that leaves much of a trail either, more so just it pops off, pushes out there, and then it just kind of diminishes pretty quickly. So people need to be around you while you're there to really pick up on it. It's not going to waft through a room and hang like some heavier EDP and parfum scents. So yeah, again, performance is not quite as advertised on my skin anyways, and usually I get really good performance from a lot of things. I don't know if it's just not overly dry skin. I'm kind of an oily person. It's weird to say, but I am. So maybe that usually helps me, but in this one, just not quite 12 hours here. A little bit let down on this one overall. I was really hoping for something like this. I was, you know, again, it didn't have to be exact. You know, I wouldn't expect them to re-release this and bottle it into this, you know, with a different name and just call it good. I would hope that they would do something different, but I just wish it was more in that direction, because to me, this is still just very similar to YEDP. The other thing is, I would almost feel like you would be just as well off wearing YO de Parfum Intense in the summertime as you would this, right? Because YO de Parfum Intense subtracts all of that sweet apple, bumps up the sage, bumps up the amberwood, bumps up that geranium as well, and then just has that amberwood going on. So it's still very aromatic leaning and blue, just without that sweet apple. This still has some of that sweet apple. Not as much, but it's there. You could wear Eau de Parfum Intense in the summertime. In fact, I have many times and be fine. So this one is not quite like the solution to summer wear necessarily. If you already have YO de Parfum Intense, you could make that work as well. But other than that, I like how it smells. I mean, I'm not trying to dog on the scent. I wish it was more of what I had in my mind, which is just not going to happen, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I do think it smells nice. I way overpaid for this considering I bought the stupid little size bottle here when I could have got 40 more milliliters for not a whole lot of money. However, you know, it's not like I'm probably gonna run through this anytime soon. The bottle is cool. I got to give them credit there as well. I really do like it. But yeah, this is my thoughts on Y Iced Cologne. Who knows how long this one's going to stick around? Maybe they'll discontinue this one after a year and then do it all over again. I would be okay with that, honestly. But again, you know, let me know down below in the comments. Have you tried this one yet? If you have, what do you think of it? At the retail price of $155, we'll just assume that you buy the 100 ml bottle. You know, it's not my favorite. I would say once this one pops up on discounters for around $90, $95 or so, which is very probable, especially for like these fresher versions like this, I would assume, then that would be something that makes a bit more sense. You know, this is going to work for some people. This is going to check the boxes for some people. And again, it's something that I probably will wear, no doubt. It'll be in some videos. I'll wear it. I'll enjoy it. But I guess I had in my mind a completely different outcome with this. So again, I want to hear from you. If you've tried this one out, let me know what you think of it. And I will drop a link to it down below if you want to pick it up at retail. I'll let everybody know when it hits discounters as well. In fact, I just sent out an email yesterday on Stronger With You Powerfully coming into stock on discounters. So anybody who's on my mailing list and community tab, you probably picked up a bottle because it sold out. So if you want those notifications, my mailing list is free, my texting list is free, and it's free to subscribe to the channel and check my community tab as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.